Hi everybody, Melissa here. Just to let you guys know that we are having some storms here, so you might hear a little bit of rumbling outside, but we should be good. Let's see here what we've got happening. So yeah, I apologize if in fact you do hear a little rumbling outside, but we are going to go ahead and create today. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So hello everybody. Welcome. Glad you guys could be with me today. We are going to be creating this. Let's see here. Get this over here. There we go. All right, so this is the layout that we are going to be creating today. It is a fun one, and it allows you to focus on like 2 or 3, maybe if you break it up, photos. You could definitely make a companion page to go with it to make it a 2-page spread. Would work very nicely with it. So just want to let you guys know again, if you're just joining me, there are storms happening here, but just bear with me. We'll get through it. All right, so what you're going to need for this layout is you're going to need a piece of paper that you like both sides of. So in this case, it is these 2 pieces right here. This is front and back. And then the best thing is that you are going to want to have them be contrasting and non-directional. So then there's this one here. So this one uses the new Summer Break collection by Creative Memories. Nice, bright, bold. And then you're gonna want a piece of cardstock. So in this case, the blue. And then you're going to want a piece of white cardstock, or maybe you want it a different color. That's going to be the matte as well as the base here on the outside. You are also going to want some embellishments to go with it. So this is using the Denim Revival collection. And so this is front and back of that piece of paper. And then again, the white I used as the base. I just think the white makes it look really clean on there. And so I really like using the white for it. For the base, but we have some options today that we can use differently. The other thing you're going to want is your trimmer, your regular trimmer, and then you're going to want your decorative trimmer. So both of those, in addition to some repositionable, some regular adhesive, and your scoring blade. So those are the items that you're going to need for today. So I pulled out something blue, which is our wedding collection, but I will tell you guys that unless you use the specific wedding stickers, you are not necessarily, needing this to be, or it doesn't have to be necessarily wedding. So I did pull out 3 pieces of cardstock that go with this 1 piece of paper. I probably am not going to, I'm only going to need 2, but I thought, well, we could pick together. So I have the front and back here, and then I pulled out the light blue or the baby blue paper here, which I thought, there's contrast here, plus it goes there. So I thought that looked really nice together as well. But there also is some green in this floral pattern. So I pulled out the avocado green, which could potentially be an option as well. And then I did just pull white. Again, I like to use white. And this again might be the best for our base. and then find one of these other colors that is going to go the best. And I actually am thinking, because these blues are not identical, there's enough contrast between that. I think I'm going to go with this lighter blue as my base. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my one piece of designer paper that I really like on both sides and is non-directional. And I'm going to take my trimmer. And right away, I'm going to put my scoring blade in my trimmer. Okay, my straight blade I'm just going to set aside, taking my scoring blade. I am going to take this piece of paper and I am going to score it at 4 inches. Okay, when you're scoring, you want to make sure that you're not pressing too hard. Otherwise, it could puncture the paper. That you're pressing enough though so you get the score in that. Okay, so then I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it on that score line. Okay, so now I have this folded piece of paper. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to switch out back to my straight blade. And then I am going to take this and actually I'm going to start here the other way. I'm going to place this fold here along the 45-degree angle. But I'm going to first start the first cut. Okay, again, my fold is up here. And I'm going to place this along the 1.5 inch line, the corner here along 1.5 inches. And I'm going to cut. Okay, I am going to be placing these cuts here off to the side, just like I am cutting them. Then I'm going to place this edge here, this cut edge, on 1.5 inches. Okay, you don't necessarily have to keep it on the 45-degree angle anymore. Just go ahead and line this cut edge at 1.5 and then cut again. Okay, so there's that one. And again, I'm going to set it over here exactly like I'm cutting. So then I'll just take this piece again and go 1.5 inches. So along the 1.5 inch line here, again, you're not always going to be able to put it on the 45-degree line. Okay, so we're cutting these pieces like so. So who do I have with me today? I see a few of you watching. So keep going on that 1.5 inch line, and I'm going to pull this up as far as I can to the top. And then cut at 1.5 inches. Oh, that one was cut at 1.25. It's okay. We'll actually be okay with this. But making sure I'm going to gently fold that at the top and then making sure that you are with the rest of them at 1.5. Okay, so we'll gently fold that so that it will fit here. And 1.5. Okay, and then again at 1.5. Okay, there we go. So we have 5 pieces that are cut, and then we have this piece that's left over, and you have 2 triangles from it. So go ahead and hang on to those. We're going to need those, but we're going to set it just like that. Then we are going to be taking our trimmer, and I want to show you guys a couple of things. So on this one with the summer break, do you notice how the indentation or the cut is kind of inward? And then on this one, the cut is outward. Okay, so there's a little bit different of a cut. The difference is how you place your trimmer in front of you. So do you have your decorative trimmer with the wave here on the right side, or do you have it like this on the left side? Okay, if you have it on the left side, your bumps are going to go out, so it's going to look like this one here. If you place it this way, then your bumps are going to go in and it's going to look more like this. So it just gives it a little bit different look. So let's go ahead and actually, I find it easier to go here with this on the left side. So these two pieces I'm going to set aside, and then I'm going to take my next piece here and I am going to place this so the edge of the paper, okay, so the point is up here and the right edge is 1/2 of an inch in, okay? So it's right inside here at 1/2 of an inch. The easy way to remember that is that this is 1.5 inches. So if I place this, so the point is along the top and I'm along 1/2 inch here, then this will be along my edge, okay, of the trimmer. So I'll just place that down and cut. I'm going to set this piece over here and this piece over here. I'm going to do the same thing with the next piece. So I'm going to place it along the edge there. And then, hi Sandy from Carbondale, Colorado. Are you having storms too? Okay, just gonna cut there. Okay, so you see I've got that going. But now remember, I made a mistake on this one and I only cut it 1.25 inches. So on this one, I am going to keep the edge the same out here. I may actually have to pull it in just a hair so I can get the design on. Okay, so mine could look a little bit different here, you guys, only because I mistakenly cut that 1.25 inches. So it's going to be, that strip is going to be a little bit narrower, but that's okay. So we'll do the same here, placing it at 1/2 of an inch. There we go. Let's see here. There we go. And then we'll cut. And then same thing here. So that's what I like about this one, right? So you know you're on 1/2 of an inch to the right is your edge is equal to the edge of the paper there. Okay, and then this last one we're going to leave the way it is. So now I'm going to use my base cardstock, which is this one here. And I am going to open up the biggest one first. Okay, so I am going to place it so it goes on my piece of cardstock like so. Okay, so you want it so it matches up at the top, the bottom, and then the point is on your left. The best way I have found is to put adhesive just on the point to start with, and you can move that piece around. Whoops. Okay, so once we get it there, then I can adhere this and I can lift up my tails here and just run my repositionable there. If you get it outside of that area, you just can rub it away. And then I'll lift up this tail. I'll do the same thing as kind of just place adhesive along the tail to go down. Then I'm going to take my next piece and I'm just going to continue to do the same thing. So you see there, it leaves the spacing in between it there. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just put some adhesive on that point and then kind of figure out, there we go. All right. Now, if we don't get all the way to the edge, we are going to be trimming off the edges a slight bit off of two sides. So you don't have to worry so much about that if you don't match completely to the top. So we'll just keep going here. And remember, this one is going to look a little bit different. I'm going to have a little bit more space in between this one here, because I did not cut. So it's going to be off a little bit. It is okay. We're just going to work with the mistake. And in the end, it will be okay. Okay, so I want to make sure all of my tails here line up. There we go. So I did adhere those. All right, let's go to the next piece here. And then we'll just keep making sure, again, that these line up. There on the bottom and the sides. Okay, then we'll lift it, place adhesive. There we go. I'll do this piece. This piece should be relatively easy because both of the tails are going to be going on this right side here. There we go. All right, and again, you guys, more spacing here because I cut that piece the wrong size. Now I'm going to turn it over and I am going to be placing this right here. And I'm going to place it, so I'm leaving about, roughly a half of an inch that I'm going to leave hanging off this side here. Okay, so we'll go like that. And then I'm going to be taking this piece here and I'm going to turn it over. And as you see, it's a little bit bigger than what we want right there, right? So we're gonna take this piece and we're gonna cut roughly a half of an inch off on the long edge, okay? So we'll take and cut that a half of an inch. And then you can place it in this corner. There we go. Okay, so we see we have a nice amount of room there. And then this corner, this one is going to go here. But again, we want to trim away. So take about a half of an inch again with that one. And then we'll place this here. Okay, so go ahead and adhere these other two triangles that you have. And this is why we want to make sure that your pieces are not directional. And this one does have some small little hearts on it. And so they are going to get turned. They're all three in different directions, but it is going to be okay, because we are going to be covering up a fair amount of it once we add our mats, etc. All right, So I'm going to start first and foremost by turning this over and cutting off the excess of this one triangle. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. So now I have that. And I am going to now take this and I am going to be cutting a 1/2 inch off the left edge and a 1/2 inch off the top edge. Okay, so however you want to do it, I'll turn this around. So I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off there. And then I'm going to rotate it and take a 1/2 inch off what is going to be the top edge. All right. There we go. So now we've got this piece here. So now what we're going to do is we are going to set this aside for the moment, and we're going to take our base piece of cardstock. And in this case, I am going to use white. So when you set this on here, I just feel like white makes it look super crisp. So once you set that on there, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to hollow it out. So I'm going to cut a 1 3/4 inch frame all the way around. So I'm going to place this so that it's at 1 3/4, which is the last line over here. Then I'm going to place the edge here at 2 3/4, because from where it punctures, this line here, to the edge is 1 inch. So if I puncture at 2 3/4 and then I stop with the edge at 11 1/4, that stops 1 3/4 inch from the edge. So I'm just going to continue to rotate that, and I'll puncture at 2 3/4 and go down to the edge at 11 1/4. The edge is at. And then I'll do the same thing. I love being able to do this because it allows us to have and utilize the most out of our paper. So again, 2 3/4 to 11 1/4. Okay, so that allows us to remove the inside from it. So now from the inside, I am going to cut 2 pieces that is 4 by 6. Okay, so there's 4 and there's 4. And I'm going to put these together and on top of each other and cut at 6. All right. I'll pull that back. I have my 2 mats. There we go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this piece on top of the white cardstock frame. So I'll turn it over, and I want it to, adhere really nicely. So I am going to use my regular adhesive with this, and so I'll just rotate. But you only need, and you're going to save with this as well, you only need adhesive along this outer edge. You don't need anything on the center because there's nothing on the center of that frame piece. Okay, so just all the way around the outside. And then we're just going to center this on that white cardstock frame. All right. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my mats. So I'm going to tuck the corner of this one under this first one here. But I'm going to pull it up. So I've got about 3/4 of an inch here at the top. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to tuck it under that piece right here. Now again, remember this piece should be wider. I miscut that. So, but regardless, it will get tucked under that piece there. So the really nice thing, you guys, about this layout is that if for some reason you don't have vertical photos, you can turn this sideways and now utilize this for horizontal photos. Okay, so you could go like that or like that, any which way that you would want. For horizontal photos. So I am going to go ahead and adhere these, and I'm just going to place some repositionable there, and then I'll make sure I've got it kind of straightened out there along the top. And then again, I've got that, leaving about 1/4 of an inch or so in between here. And then I just am going to go like that. And line those up. All right. So again, if we're going to keep it in the same orientation that we did these others, which are vertical, like so, I would leave them like this. But because we did those that are vertical, I feel like I don't, there we go. Because we did these vertical over here, let's maybe rotate this one. This might be a good one for us to rotate. The other thing in doing this is it will allow us to place maybe some embellishments to kind of cover up my mistake of cutting that piece too small. And so we could, do that as well. Another thing I could do to kind of cover that boo-boo is to kind of place, something like this along the inside there to kind of fill in that space a little bit. And that's a border sticker. But I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to work with it. But you guys, I absolutely love the embellishments for it. Most, especially these embroidered embellishments. So here, let me show you the whole thing because I don't have the big one there, but right, aren't they just gorgeous? So we could very easily place this piece so that it goes here, okay? And so it kind of sort of covers up the excess space right there. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. It'll add a nice amount to that. So, and then I'm gonna kind of do my typical triangle from here. So we can add other pieces to this. So let's look at everything else that we might have. Like this would be super fun to like kind of place at the top there, right? That we could. But I also want to tell you that if you want, you can, I'm gonna pull another piece here, but we could double mat this. So that's gonna help us pull out some of the color, some of the other colors in the layout. So in this case, I really like this kind of minty color. So this is a piece I've got, so it's gonna pull out that green. I am just going to cut that there. So you're gonna need 2 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So we'll go ahead and rotate that to 5 3/4. And again to 5 3/4. So 2 double mats. So that means your photos for this are going to measure 5 1/2 by 3 1/2 or 3 1/2 by 5 1/2, either one there. Okay, so let's get that tucked under there. Okay. And again, I like to kind of find where it goes and then lift up a couple of the edges and put adhesive. Okay, there we go. I'll do the top one here before I adhere that. So I still am. The amount of things, you guys, that we are able, you see how now that pulls the greens from in here? But the amount of things that we are able to do with our decorative trimmer is amazing. The other thing I want to tell you guys is you see this piece here, if I stick it down and then try to tear it up again when I go to place my photo, it may or may not tear my paper. So I like to take just a corner of whatever backing, sticker backing, whatever, and just place it under here until you add your photo. So then this doesn't stick to that paper. And then once you get your photo, then you can go ahead and place that down on top of it. But let's just kind of lay things out here and see how they are going to look. I do kind of, I really like this, but we also need some place to journal. So we need to keep that in mind as we're doing this. I could go like this and then trim off the bottom here would be a nice option as well. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Well, let's just look. Let's quickly look and see what our other options are, because we have something like this that we could do as well. There's a lighter with the white. This might be a better option, but kind of like tucking that under there. So it kind of is almost like tucking it under here. And then we could put, you know, a sticker or another piece above it there, which I do kind of like that. And then maybe we can, I'm just looking here to see again what my options could be. Our wedding day, you know, could go here. We've got some other greens if we wanted to add maybe over on this other side, not sure about that. So let's just keep playing to see where we might end up. All right, there's this here as well. So what happens if we kind of layered up some of those pieces? Or again, we kind of go here and here. And then, you know, we've got some of our other, or again, we can use these pieces to kind of layer this one up a little bit, which is super cute as well. So we could put those in there, just giving it a little bit of depth. So maybe if I'm doing that, I want to pop this up instead of tucking it under. So then I would go back to my foam squares and pop that. But I am going to turn this over. I don't necessarily want to stick this one down here. Because for the same reason. So I'm going to leave kind of this square in this top without removing any of those in case I need to tuck a picture under there. So we'll go ahead and make sure it's even there. And maybe we have a different title, right? So love is in the air. Okay, that fits nicely as well on that. Maybe we have happily ever after, and we want to kind of put that up here. So then if you wanted, you had some room here to do some journaling. The other thing we could do with that is we could add then, you know, a heart, maybe here. And then we can add a heart up here. So that kind of sort of like pulls it across the photos there, which I do kind of like that, but let me just see. I'll put foam square and then just kind of gently place that there. It also pulls the heart from there. And then here I'm going to take a few small foam squares and place behind. But when I turn this over, again, I want to make sure that these pieces here, the foam squares, are not removed from until I place my photo there. So I'm just going to probably remove the foam squares here on the ends and then turn that over. Okay, turn it a little bit there. There we go. And then I still have my heart, and I could go here or here. I'm kind of thinking here would be the better spot for it, or I could even just tuck it like that. So maybe we'll do that. I'll put a foam square behind it, so even though it is the embroidered, you still can add that. Okay, now I feel like we're getting somewhere. So we could, if we wanted to, still pop this one more layer. It's popped once, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe you guys know how I love my foam squares, right? There we go. So now if you wanted to, you could put a name and a date, etc. here in this spot. What about up here? So we've got a couple of these embroidered flowers we could definitely use in that spot to kind of pull that floral piece, the floral from here together. Okay, so we could also then tuck a piece down here. And that, my friends, is what's called an insulin pump. If you did not know, I am diabetic and I am okay. My blood sugar is 124, which is perfect, but I just wanted to make sure I had an alarm to check it that I didn't go low before it was done. So we're all good. All right, you guys, so that is the layout that I have for you today. And like I said, I rotated this one so you could use horizontal photos, where the other, and this is the Something Blue collection. This is the Summer Break collection. Okay, and this is the Denim Revival collection. So can be done, again, you just want to make sure that piece of paper that you're using is non-directional, contrasting on both sides. Also remember that it depends on which way you're cutting on your trimmer as to whether or not you get the indented aspect of the wave or the extended kind of puffed on the outside. So that does it for us today. I definitely hope that you guys will like, subscribe, and give me a comment. Tell me what you liked, which collection that you plan on doing this technique with. And then also, if this is something that interests you and you enjoy learning new techniques with your tools, love to have you join the Creative Chatterbox's creative community. And you can find the information right there on my website, www.thecreativechatterbox.com. It is $15 US a month. Classes are weekly. You get recordings, you get PDF instructions, etc. So we'd love to have you. And our wonderful friend, Sachio Omitsu, she creates and teaches for us in the community once a month. So we'd love to have you guys. So pop on over. Again, like, share, subscribe, all of those fun things. And love and blessings until we create again, friends.